Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Mike Martin Show here on AM 790 WPRV on Facebook Live and on YouTube. I'm your host, Scott Credisci. Glad you could join us. The Mike Martin Show is brought to you in part by Bay Coast Bank, providing exceptional service and financial solutions for our community since 1851. Visit baycoast.bank to learn more. Coming up on the show, we'll be joined by a couple of players from this year's team. We'll preview a big weekend of basketball here at the Pizzatola Sports Center with Harvard and Dartmouth coming to town this weekend. But first things first, let's say hello to the head coach of the Bears, Mike Martin. Coach, how are you?
Scott, good evening. I am well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for being with us. Coach, before we do the weekend recap from last week, it was coaches or sneakers and suits, right, for Coaches versus Cancer in conjunction with the NABC. Let's talk a little bit about that. I know you guys, had the tops on with the saying, but you also had the sneakers on with the yellow shoelaces. I think that is for pediatric cancer awareness, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct about that. Yeah, the yellow laces. So, interesting. This year, there's been, I sit on the National Council for the Coaches vs. Cancer. We work with the American Cancer Society. Back in the summer, we started talking about, all right, what's Suits and Sneakers Week going to look like this year? In the past, you'd have coaches who all dress in suits for all of their games, and we just throw on some sneakers, and we'd look a little different wearing a dress suit with some sneakers, but it would raise awareness for funds for cancer research and for the American Cancer Society. With a lot of coaches opting to not wear suits for any games this year, we talked about, all right, how can we continue to raise awareness? How can we continue to unite together as a coaches group? And so you had the black pullovers or the black polo shirts,
right,
which our staff and many staffs around the country wore this weekend. So that was our way of trying to continue to raise awareness and funds for cancer research, and working closely with the NABC and the American Cancer Society. We are Coaches vs. Cancer.
And I know that you are a member of the Coaches versus Cancer Council with a lot of different college basketball and high school coaches past and present. In fact, I think three of your Ivy League colleagues, James Jones, Mitch Henderson, and Steve Donahue, are also a part of that council.
Yeah, and it's a group that works closely with ACS, and there's a number of opportunities and events throughout the year from a national standpoint, and then also locally in each region to do just that, to raise money to hopefully defeat this dreaded disease. And it's been a good opportunity for me to just to do all that I can in this area to help increase awareness and funds. And obviously, it's a disease that I think all of us have been touched in some way or another, and something with which I have great passion.
And again, I know that you and your staff and the Cornell coaches and some of the student athletes had the gold shoelaces for pediatric cancer awareness, and our cheerleaders at the game had pink shoelaces for breast cancer awareness as well.
I did not know that about the cheerleaders. Thanks for pointing that out, and we appreciate them doing that. And there's so many different obviously forms of cancer that impact so many, and it's just something that we need to continue to fight.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the game last weekend. Well, first of all, the game that was supposed to be played on Saturday got moved to Sunday morning because of that nor'easter that hit this area very hard with upwards of 20 inches of snow. So the game originally scheduled for Saturday at 4 had to move it to Sunday morning at 11 a.m. And I know these decisions aren't taken lightly, but you really didn't have much choice, did you, right? I mean, obviously there was a driving ban in all of Rhode Island. What do you do in a situation like this? Obviously, you're talking to senior leadership here at Brown, and then I would imagine you're in communication with the opposing team to talk about, their availability to play at a different time.
Yeah, so obviously there was no way we could play the game on Saturday,
right,
given the way the storm hit, and wow, was it a storm. But we started talking, I guess, on Thursday and then Friday morning, once it became apparent that this thing was coming and the likely results. So the leadership here in our athletic division reached out to the folks at Cornell, At that point it was too late to move it up to Friday night. Maybe that was the other option had we started to think about it earlier in the week.
But wrestling had an event that night here. Not that you couldn't have played maybe later, maybe
Yeah,
8 o'clock,
yeah, it
9
would have been
o'clock.
some juggling, some gym facility scheduling and juggling that would have had to go on in order for that to happen. No question. So we looked at Sunday morning. We wanted Cornell to be able to get back at a reasonable hour. We also had a gymnastics meet here Sunday evening. So to flip it from a basketball setup to a gymnastics setup requires some time and some effort. And the people here in our facilities, office work so hard to make that a reality. I have a pretty good relationship with Brian Earl, so I don't think it's a must that you speak with the other coach. But I just called Brian to just let him know some of the conversations that were going on here on Friday morning, and that we'd be likely reaching out to his administration, and just wanted to get kind of his thoughts, his preference. What we're given the options, what did he prefer, and ultimately the administration at Brown and Cornell came to the agreement that we'd play Sunday morning.
So I talked to Brian Earl when he arrived here Sunday morning, and I know originally his team had scheduled the practice here around 11 a.m. Saturday, and he said, we just couldn't do it. It was at the height of the storm. You guys were able to get a little practice in Saturday morning. Obviously, for your guys, it's just a walk across campus in the bad conditions, but you guys were able to get a little workout in Saturday morning, correct?
Yeah, we almost treated it like a game day shoot-around, because for an 11 a.m. game, we didn't want to get the guys up too early for a shoot-around. I think sleep is so important. So we treated Saturday as a morning as a light, very little contact practice, and almost like a shoot-around. And then that drive back to Barrington, I can tell you, was the storm it took its toll on that drive. It took me a long time to get home.
A white knuckle drive, right?
It took me a long time to get home.
All right, so 11 a.m. start on Sunday at the Pits. Trivia question for Coach Martin. Do you remember the last time the Bears played at a morning game?
I do not.
You were part of it. You were head coach.
I was a head coach. We
Yep.
played in the morning.
Yep. I'll give you a hint. We didn't play a morning game on the East Coast. It was out in Las Vegas.
Oh, yes.
I think
yes,
we
yes.
played in
Prairie
11
View
a.m.
at 11 a.m.
Yeah,
and
11
Austin
a.m.
Peay,
Pacific
maybe.
time.
Yeah, there you go.
So that was
I do remember that now that you bring it up.
So we were trying to think, when's the last time, if at all, Browns played a morning game, and that was the last one.
When I was an assistant coach at Penn, I don't know if you remember, they used to have the 24-hour tip-off marathon, ESPN.
Oh, yeah.
And so we played Drexel in as part of that 24-hour tip-off marathon, I think at 9 or 10 a.m. And that was my another experience with playing an early morning game.
All right, so you host the Big Red of Cornell Sunday morning, 11 a.m., and obviously, it's one thing to watch film and prepare for that style of play where they're pressing, where they're really getting up and down the floor, because they are one of the top-scoring offenses in college basketball. It's another thing when you go up against it, right? And I think, I don't want to say it caught you guys off guard, but they came out and they hit you guys in the mouth in the first 20 minutes, and you guys really fought back in the second half.
Yeah, it's hard to simulate it. They've been practicing that way and playing that way all year, and they just rotate so many different players in. So I think that certainly we finally settled in a little bit and got a little bit comfortable playing it. I think we did a couple things schematically that may have helped, but bottom line is we weren't ready to go at the level we needed to from the very beginning, and dug ourselves too big of a hole against a quality opponent. So, like we said after the game, it's a 40-minute game. The first 25 minutes are just as important as the last 15, and obviously the last 15, we had great success defending them and scoring against them, but the first 25 we did not.
All right, let's go over some of the highlights in this one. And early on, Coach, there was a play that you talk about culture plays, and this, to me, defined one of your culture plays. You had 3 guys go to the deck to keep the ball alive, and it resulted in an open 3 for Perry Cowan. Cho double-teamed in the high post, has it poked loose on the floor. Gainey couldn't get it. Cho poked it to Lilly. He goes to the deck for it. He finds Cowan. Perry's open 3 from the left is good.
A lot of people hitting the deck, and Perry delivers the three-pointer.
I mean, that was, I'm sure you remember that play. That was on the opposite end early in the first half, but it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, and it started in a tough spot. As you mentioned, they doubled T and kind of knocked it from his hands, but then, all 3 of those guys, JGT and Keno, all dove on the floor, and then Keno made a great pass from the floor to Perry to get us a 3. And yeah, no doubt that was celebrated on Monday when we watched film as a group.
Yeah, one guy that played well for you, Coach, coming off the bench was Noah Marin, and he made his presence felt early. Bojic again, Noah Marin in the game, gets it on the left, and gets the give and go for the jam from Nana Owusu-Anani. Yeah, that was a nice little play there, two-person play there between Nana and Noah. But I really thought Noah provided a great spark, especially not having Dan Friday available. Boy, he really filled that void.
Yeah, you know what? Noah's been practicing well, and he played good minutes against Columbia the week before, even with Dan in the lineup. But, yeah, for sure, without Dan in the lineup, it was more opportunity for Noah, and he took advantage of it. I thought he, in the second half when we made our run, thought he was very good. And, defensively, getting some steals, getting in passing lanes, getting some long rebounds, and then, offensively, a couple really good passes and decisions, and got to the foul line a little bit. So, yeah, Noah's going to continue to be a big part of what we do.
You were down, I think it was 21, about a minute into the second half, and then, Coach, your team's defense and the press that you put on really seemed to ignite the team, and you guys really got going, and you fought all the way back, and you eventually tied the game before losing it at the buzzer on that putback by Kobe Dixon. But just talk about that, Coach, the pressure, the defensive intensity. I know you would have hoped to have started the game that way, but it really got you back into it. It isn't often that teams can come back from a 21-point deficit and tie the game. Your team did that.
Yeah, and we did it, I think, within, we tied it up with 3 minutes to go. So it says a lot about our team, how they continue to fight. I thought David Mitchell, his energy and his leadership presence in the second half was terrific. Kimo Ferrari, some big steals, and just, the first half I felt like we were on our heels, and Cornell was the aggressor, and they were dictating to us offensively and defensively how the game was going to be played. I wish, it didn't happen that way for the entire first half, but in the second half I thought we flipped it. We were the aggressors. We put them on their heels. They weren't really comfortable doing, what they normally do offensively or defensively, and I'm sure there's some things they'll wish they could have done a little bit better in the second half, just like we wish we could have done a little bit better in the first half. But I thought that was the story of the game. They were the aggressors and had us on our heels in the first half, and we flipped it a little bit in the second half.
From an offensive standpoint, one of the guys that helped you come back was the very talented freshman, Keno Lilly. That head of steam, kicks it left side, Lilly. 3 to tie. Go!
Tie the game up. And you got another timeout.
And that was with about, I think, 3 and change left. A little bit later on, Cornell would up the lead again, and Lilly would get it to a 1-possession game. Picks up his dribble inside the key to Wojcik in the corner. Lilly, open 3 for Keno is good. Big bucket there for the freshman.
Yeah, Cornell in their zone defense.
Keno has just been really solid for you, Coach. I haven't seen too many freshmen that have come in and played at the level that he has from a scoring standpoint. He's a very confident shooter. He's a great shooter.
Yeah, no, you know what? We continue to talk about his skills and his talent and his production, and all that stuff is so impressive, and he's going to continue to just be really fun to coach and really fun to watch for the next 4 years. He is among the most skilled guys I've ever been around as far as dribbling and passing and shooting. What I'm most impressed with, Scott, is his ability to be coached, his learning curve, his communication is starting to, he's a freshman playing with a fifth-year senior and a lot of two fifth-year seniors, for that matter, with T and Noah, and then a lot of juniors and seniors. And his presence and the way they look at him and the way they respect him is really impressive for a kid who's a young man who's in his first year of college basketball.
He's kind of a quiet kid, kind of unassuming, but boy, he's almost like a quiet assassin to me.
Yeah,
he goes out there and he means business.
Yeah, he's a competitor, and he's going at you, and we're really fortunate that he's on our side.
And obviously, he's got that great, perimeter jump shot, but when he has to, he can take it to the hoop, as he did here to tie the game late. Lilly dribbles down the right side of the lane, off the window, and scores! And again, that's the beauty. I mean, it's hard if you're a one-dimensional player, right? You're a great three-point shooter, but you can be defended, and you can't beat somebody off the bounce. I don't want to say you're easy to shut down, but you are certainly easier to defend. he can beat you off the bounce. He's got that great floater. He can take it to the rim. So I just love the fact that he has all those dimensions to his game offensively.
And he can make plays for his teammates too.
Yeah.
He's a really good passer and distributor, and makes great reads in the ball screen, great reads in open space. So yeah, he's in all those highlights there. I mean, he scored 8 of our last 10 points. And in crunch time, he hits 2 big threes. He has the one-on-one move past the Cornell defender to tie the game up. So he can do it in a lot of different ways, and he does it at big times and in big moments. And like I said, as a young man who's in his first year of college basketball, for him to be doing that on a team with as many veterans as we have says so much about the type of player and competitor he is.
So with the game tied and Cornell with the basketball, JG comes up with the initial block, but unfortunately Dixon is there for the rebound and the putback, or he grabs the block shot, puts it back with 1/10 of a second to go. It's too bad because JG was there initially with the shot block.
Yeah, I'm glad you weren't going to play that because I thought you were getting ready to play that soundbite, and we don't need to hear that one. I've seen it enough. I've heard it enough in the last 72 hours. But yeah, good play by Cornell. Credit to their young man Kobe Dixon for staying with it. He had Ticho and Jalen on him, and he makes a really good play. So going into that play, there was 3 seconds left. We had just blocked the ball out of bounds. They didn't have any timeouts left. We knew that. We had one, and we called timeout to set our defense, and that's something that we feel good about. We feel good about that decision. Obviously, we wish the execution of the last defensive coverage would have been a little bit better, but Cornell deserves credit for. And it was interesting. I watched the replay so many times, how the ball even on his second shot, like the way it went in the basket, he almost threw it up against the backboard. It hit the bottom of the rim and then somehow came up and bounced in. It wasn't like a straight-in layup. But, yeah, tough loss, Scott.
Yep.
It's we've had 4 losses in league play by 4 points or less. And, we have to take those hard lessons and apply them to, what we have ahead of us. And, again, Cornell deserves a ton of credit for closing that game out after we made such a big comeback. But we've got to learn from those last 3 minutes when we tied it up. What are some things that we can control? We can't control that bounce. We can't control other things, the way the ball bounces, whether shots go in or not. What are some of the things we can control? Is it not fouling? Is it defensive rebounding? Is it maybe a little bit better decisions offensively in those tight moments?
Yep.
That'll put us in a position to win the next time we're in that situation.
I have a rules question for you, and I want to say maybe 3 and change to go. There's a ball that went out of bounds under our basket. It was awarded to Cornell. I think they ended up getting 2 free throws down the other end on the ensuing possession. And then at the end there, that ball that went out of bounds, I thought there was some question as to whether or not that went out off of us or them. When can the officials, or when do the officials go to the replay monitor to review things of that nature?
Only under 2 minutes to go.
Okay.
And only when there's not certainty that the call on the court was correct.
So if they're certain that they're not going to the monitor.
Correct. So they were certain in that play. And
can you, even if you request, hey, I think that ball may have gone off of them, can you take a look at that?
They don't have to.
They don't have to. If they feel like they're certain, they don't have to.
Correct.
Did you look at that replay? I mean, did that ball go out off of Brown at the end there? I couldn't tell.
It looked like JG blocked it off the guy's shot, and if anything, or blocked the guy's shot, and maybe by a fingertip, But I mean, that's not why we lost the game.
No, I get it. I'm just wondering again when they can or when they do. And
they could have, but they don't have to.
You answered it perfectly. So it's under 2 minutes, number one, and number two, if they're not certain, if they feel like they're certain with the call, they're not going to go to the monitor. So I get it. Okay. You've cleared that up for me. All right, so you lose to the Big Red. Again, you talk about another close loss. It's tough, not winning these close games. I'm sure when you look back at it, you feel like, to a certain extent, the game was lost in the first 21 minutes, right?
No
Digging
doubt.
yourself a 21-point hole.
No
When
doubt.
you have to fight your tail off to come back from that just makes it difficult.
Yeah, if we play better in the first half, then we're probably and then we play the way we play in the second half, we're probably not in a position where the last 2 minutes are as tightly contested, hotly contested, closely contested. but maybe we don't play with the same kind of urgency if we're not down by 20 in the second half. It's a fine line. We clearly can't start the game the way we did. We clearly have to find a way to play with the type of intensity and emotion and spirit that we showed in the second half. But I think, again, Cornell's deserves a ton of credit. Their staff, their players are on the other side. They're trying to win as well.
Right.
And they were better in the first half, and we were better in the second half. I think they're a really good team. I think we're a really good team. It's not like one thing you can point and say that's it. That's the reason you lost these close games. It's a lot of different things. And as a staff, and for all those that are watching, trust us. We're trying like crazy to figure it out between our staff and our young men on this team, our players, and we want to be in position where we come out on top in those situations. And the good news is we got another opportunity Friday night.
All right, we'll take a quick timeout. When we come back on the Mike Martin Show, we'll be joined by sophomore forward Malachi Nador and senior guard Tyler Brown when we continue with the Mike Martin Show right after this.
The British! They're here!
Sir, this is our Bay Coast Bank interactive teller machine, not the British. With our local ITM personal bankers, you can cash checks, make loan payments, and deposit or withdraw funds with extended hours beyond regular branch hours.
Genius!
Thank you!
I would like to make a withdrawal.
Great! How much?
12 shillings, please.
Elite Physical Therapy is a proud partner of Brown Bears Athletics. Achieving elite levels of performance is a pursuit held by all athletes, so we wanted to know how members of Brown's coaching staff defined elite.
Elite means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but I would say it's somebody who's pursuing their potential to the absolute ends. And so, for some people that might mean, the Olympic Games and pursuing medals, and for other people that might mean trying to get onto the roster, to travel to HEPS and our Ivy League championship and to score a point for the team by the time they're a senior. So everybody's potential lies in a different place, but if you're truly pursuing your potential to the absolute end, then that's what being elite is to me.
Now taking off, Breeze Airways with nice, new, and non-stop flights to Pittsburgh, Charleston, and Norfolk. Only on Breeze Airways.
Doctors at University Orthopedics have been caring for the people of southeastern New England for more than 40 years. With the Warren Alpert Medical School of Brown University, we train the next generation of orthopedic surgeons. Our state-of-the-art facilities stretch from Westerly to Mansfield. At our East Bay Surgery Center, we've performed thousands of surgeries, including same-day total joint replacements. We've grown through the years, but our goal has always been getting you back to doing what you love to do. The best orthopedic care anywhere is right here. University Orthopedics.
From corporate events to weddings by the bay to private celebrations, the Pronzi name means elegance, personalized service, and exacting attention to detail. Pronzi has everything you need in one place: event planning, catering, tents, tables and chairs, decor, and so much more. Call Pronzi today and let them plan your next event. Why go anywhere else?
The British! They're here!
Sir, this is our Bay Coast Bank interactive teller machine, not the British. With our local ITM personal bankers, you can cash checks, make loan payments, and deposit or withdraw funds with extended hours beyond regular branch hours.
Genius!
Thank you!
I would like to make a withdrawal.
Great! How much?
12 shillings, please.
Doctors at University Orthopedics have been caring for the people of southeastern New England for more than 40 years. With the Warren Alpert Medical School of Brown University, we train the next generation of orthopedic surgeons. Our state-of-the-art facilities stretch from Westerly to Mansfield. At our East Bay Surgery Center, we've performed thousands of surgeries, including same-day total joint replacements. We've grown through the years, but our goal has always been getting you back to doing what you love to do. The best orthopedic care anywhere is right here. University Orthopedics.
From corporate events to weddings by the bay to private celebrations, the Pronzi name means elegance, personalized service, and exacting attention to detail. Pronzi has everything you need in one place: event planning, catering, tents, tables and chairs, decor, and so much more. Call Pronzi today and let them plan your next event. Why go anywhere else?
Welcome back to the Mike Martin Show here on AM 790 WPRV and Facebook Live. Scott Cordisci with you. This portion of the program is brought to you by the Brown University Sports Foundation. Through your donations and the work of our volunteers, the Brown Sports Foundation is committed to providing funding and support to Brown athletics that enhance the student-athlete experience. Thank you for your generosity and service to Brown athletics. And right now it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the Mike Martin Show. To my immediate right, we have senior guard Tyler Brown. Tyler, how are you?
Doing pretty well. Glad to be here.
Well, thank you for being with us. And to his right, we have sophomore forward Malachi Nador. Malachi?
How you doing? Good to be here. Good to be here.
Guys, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Let's first talk about the team. And I know this season, particularly the Ivy League season, hasn't gone out to the start that we expected. We've lost a lot of close games, right? But I guess win or lose, Tyler, I'll start with you. You just got to put the last game behind you and look forward to the next one, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We just got to have a short memory. We know the problems that we've been having down the stretch, finishing out games, and been working on it every day, taking it one day at a time, and just making sure that we're doing the little things right and taking care of the little things that we know that we can control. And still got plenty of opportunities left ahead of us to go and do what we want to do.
Yep. Malachi talks about being able to finish games. I thought the last game against Cornell was maybe more the start, right? We didn't come out with that maybe intensity that we needed like we had in the second half, right? I think we were down 21 with 19 minutes to go in the game, and then we picked up the pressure and the defensive intensity and got right back into that game and tied it, as a matter of fact.
For sure. And I think that's been, part of the story of our season as well, is putting 40 minutes together. Sometimes we start the game well and have a little lapse in the second half, or we don't start so well and then have to pick it up. So I think consistency for us has been something that has been a big emphasis and something that we need to improve on to reach our goals. But I think it's something that's well achievable. We've only all of our games that we've lost in the league have been by marginal deficits. So once we put it all together, I know this group wants to do big things, and we're excited and we work for it every day. So I think we'll work it out.
Tyler, the talent's there. I mean, I've been covering this program for a long time, since the mid-'90s, and I would argue that this might be the most talented and deepest roster I've seen. So I feel like the talent's there, right? I mean, would you agree?
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, and you're a perfect example of that, right? I mean, you transfer here from Hutchinson Community College, and I know, getting playing time isn't easy, right? Because there's so many good players. Let's talk about that a little bit. And I was talking to Mal off the air about this. I try to put myself in your guys' shoes, but it's hard to, because, I was a decent high school player. Right? I played football, basketball, and baseball, but not good enough to be recruited to play Division I athletics like you guys. And to me, if you're good enough to be a Division I athlete, you were invariably probably the star on your team in high school. Now, the problem is you come to college and you're teammates with 17 other guys that were the star in their team, right? So even though everybody wants to play 40 minutes a game, that's not the reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how do you deal with that? Again, I'm sure you'd love to play more, right? But you play your role as, doing what you can in practice, working your tail off, making your teammates better. So how do you deal with that?
I'm taking it day by day. Do it every day is a new day to get better. It's another day to make myself better. Try to make my teammates better. Practice well. I mean, it's really not. I mean, I've taken it as I have the opportunity to make my teammates better in practice, and if the opportunity comes, the opportunity comes. But, I mean, you pretty much summed it up right there.
And look, and the bottom line is, for any team to reach its potential, everybody has to fill a role, and everybody has to embrace their role. And I know you do that. And, Mal, same thing with you, right? I mean, you'd like to be out there playing 40 minutes, but you understand that it's a numbers game, and, you just keep working hard, and hopefully eventually you get that shot.
For sure. And all 17 guys, and it's been our motto recently. The past couple games is all 22, including the coaching staff. They all play a big role on this team. Everybody contributes to our success. So it's not just the 8 or 9 guys that are on the court during the game. It's all 17 in practice and preparation, and being just me personally. I think I just try to do whatever I can to help this team win, whether it be being vocal in practice, being vocal in the timeouts, on the bench, just bringing energy, just doing everything that we can to benefit the team and contribute to winning.
Yeah, I mean, you do bring that energy, by the way. I've seen enough of you in practice, and you keep it light, too, which I like. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably one of the more fun-loving guys on the team, so you fill that role very well. Tyler, so you're from Wichita, Kansas. As I mentioned, Hutchinson Community College, where you average 13 points per game, pretty good three-point shooter. Tell us about your decision to come here, to transfer to Brown, and how that all happened.
Well, my sophomore year, COVID struck right around March, and I had been talking to a handful of schools the second semester of my sophomore year, and once COVID hit, it was kind of, all of the visits were restricted, so I wasn't able to make any visits or anything, but I was still in communication, and Coach TJ, he came down January of 2020, and he showed interest in me, and I thought it was a blessing because I never thought that it was actually going to be a possibility to go to an Ivy League from a JUCO. So I was ecstatic about that, and ultimately it came down to I have Brown University sitting there. I hold myself to a very high standard with education, and I felt like there was only one way that things could have gone, and I went through the financial aid process, and everything worked itself out, and I wouldn't have changed my decision even to this day.
In addition to being a heck of an athlete, you must be one hell of a student to get into an Ivy League school like Brown, right? I mean, they just don't admit anyone. You have to have the grades. You have to, perform at a high level academically, and obviously you did that at Hutchinson Community College, and I'm sure in high school as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're a mechanical engineering major, is that right?
Yes, sir.
So what do you hope to do? I mean, how do you hope to apply that in the real world when you eventually graduate?
Actually, what the engineering path that I'm really wanting to take is the structural engineering path, but Brown doesn't offer architectural or structural engineering. They have mechanical engineering.
Yep.
But with the open curriculum, it kind of makes it nice to be flexible with the courses that you want to take. So I have the ability to take more structural focused classes or civil engineering focused classes rather than mechanical, but I'm still getting a nice overall diverse group of classes with electrical, mechanical engineering. So for me, I like that. I want to be diversified, and I want to be able to specialize and acquire many tools in the engineering world. So I like the mechanical engineering path, but ultimately structural engineering is kind of where I'm leaning towards.
Okay. Mal, from St. Thomas, Ontario, you went to Cushing Academy in Massachusetts. How'd you wind up here?
So I was recruited by Coach Anton and Coach Martin in high school. They started showing interest my junior year at Cushing, and then my junior year summer going into my senior year, I playing AAU. I picked up my official offer from Brown, and then that September, I took my visit here, and then my official visit, and ever since then, everything about it felt like home. The coaching staff, they showed their interest, they showed their trust, and they valued me as a player and as a person as well. And like what Tyler said, Brown, top 10 school in the country, Ivy League, could set up my future. I thought it was the best decision for me, basketball-wise, education-wise, and everything just felt right. It just felt like home with the coaching staff. I thought I had a great relationship with everyone coming in, so it just felt like the right decision for me and my future to grow as a basketball player and as a person.
I know hockey is Canada's favorite pastime, and we'll talk more about that as it pertains to your dad in just a moment. But I have noticed a lot more Division I college basketball players coming from north of the border, like yourself, like Nana. We had Obi Akoli, the Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year. We've had players at Harvard as well. So it seems like that sport, I don't want to say it's growing up there, but it seems like there's been more of an influx of players like yourself from Canada playing Division I college basketball here in the States.
And most definitely. And I think and it's only going to keep growing, and there's more and more talent is coming from Canada. I know personally, just from my peers, I have so many peers that I grew up with playing basketball in Ontario, in Canada, that are now all playing overseas, not overseas, sorry, across the border.
Yep.
Division I, Division IIs, JUCOs. There's just so much talent in Canada. I think even now, especially thanks to some of the guys in the NBA, the talent is just being exposed more, and I think more eyes are north of the border recognizing the talent that's there, and I just think that years to come, you're just going to see more and more names.
All right. So your dad had a lengthy professional career playing hockey in the NHL and the AHL. In fact, 14 years. I mean, that's a long career to play pro hockey. So as a kid, did you get on skates? I mean, you're too big to be a hockey player now, obviously. You're definitely a basketball player, but did you ever get pushed in that direction?
I did a little bit growing up when I was a kid. My dad had me on skates early, so I knew how to skate when I was about 3 years old. But it was always just having fun skating around. It wasn't really. I never really took it too serious. But when I was young, my dad was playing overseas in England, so I was about 5, 6 years old. About to get into the age where you get into sports, running around and stuff. So since being in England, the main sport over there was soccer. So instead of following my dad in hockey, I love soccer. I love running around. So that became kind of my first sport. And then from there, it was just, like you said, a bit too tall to be on skates. So playing soccer and then playing basketball, being introduced to basketball through my uncle, and those were the two for me, for sure.
Tyler, I see in your bio, too, other sports that you're interested in. You like lifting weights. You also like to play golf.
Yeah.
What's your handicap, or do you have one?
I'm pretty much just a straight bogey golfer.
Okay, that's not bad, because I think they say the average golfer probably can't even break 100. So if you're a bogey golfer, you're probably somewhere in the 90s, which isn't bad, right?
Yeah.
So Wichita, Kansas. Here's a question for you, and actually the same one for you, Mel. What are winters like in Wichita, Kansas? And do you ever have like big snowstorms like the one we had here last Saturday, like a nor'easter that dumps 20 inches on you?
No, I mean it snows back home. It gets cold. It's about the same temperature as it is here, but the snowstorm that just happened, that's probably the most snow I've ever seen in my life.
And the wind, too, which has made it bad. What about St. Thomas, Ontario? What's it like out there?
For me, to be honest, that wasn't too bad. I've had some winters where, we had 3 or 4 of those in a span. So growing up, snow days were big time for me in the winter. So we had quite a few big winter storms for sure.
So Malachi, I also saw in your bio that you enjoy reading, music, cooking, and soccer, which you alluded to earlier.
Yes,
so cooking, I'm curious here. What do you like to cook?
I like cooking breakfast meals for sure. The pancakes, the waffles, the eggs, bacon, all that. I like making full breakfast. I think I make a good fettuccine alfredo.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah, for sure. I think I make a good Alfredo. I think I make good tacos for sure. Tacos Tuesdays. I think I cook up some good tacos. So
nice.
I think I'm diverse. I got a little diversity.
Do you like spicy food by chance?
I do.
I'll teach you. If you make a good fettuccine Alfredo, I'll teach you how to make a spicy fettuccine Alfredo.
Yeah, my family's Nigerian, so some of the African food has a lot of spice to it, so I'm used to it.
Tyler, one of your hobbies, in addition to golf and lifting weights, hanging with your brothers.
Yeah.
How many brothers do you have?
I got 2 full brothers, 4 stepbrothers, 1 half brother, and 1 half sister.
Wow. Wow. Big family.
Yeah.
Lots of siblings. So when you're hanging with the brothers, what do you do? Is it like competition? Is it sports, or what is it doing?
I mean, when we were growing up, yeah, for sure. But here, as we've gotten older, lifting weights. Me and my brother, he actually just moved to Fort Worth here last January. So whenever I would go back home, we would just be working out. I actually went and lived with him after the whole COVID thing happened, and it was. I mean, my 2 oldest brothers, my full brothers, are like, they're my rock. Like they've been my 2 most important people in my life for a long time.
That's awesome. Mel, do you have any siblings?
I do. I have a younger sister.
Okay. Is she an athlete,
She
or
is.
what is she like? What are her interests?
She's a volleyball player. She goes to Cushing Academy as well.
Oh, okay.
She's currently a sophomore, and yeah, she's a high academic student as well. She told me she wanted to get into kind of real estate growing up. So yeah, I think she's a better student than I was, and than I am even. So I think whatever she puts her mind to.
How did you wind up at Cushing? How did you guys, wind up at Cushing Academy?
So my sophomore year, I was playing high school in Canada, and after the high school season, I knew that I kind of wanted to go to the next level and kind of see, where I could put myself in a position to where I could achieve my goals and get to where I am now. So it helps with my AU organization, and a couple people. We had a mutual friend who actually went to Cushing, and through them we were able to get in contact with Coach Cormier, who's a head coach at Cushing, and I went down and visited the spring of my sophomore year going into my junior year, and then visited the school, and kind of similar situation to here at Brown. I just thought it was the best place for me to grow as a person and as a basketball player, and I can't thank the school and the basketball program there enough, because it put me in the position to be where I am today. So
nice.
I thought I spent a great 2 years there, and I'm hoping and I know that my sister's getting a similar experience as well.
That's awesome. All right, a couple of quick rapid-fire questions. Have some fun to wrap it up. What's your favorite spot on campus?
Favorite spot, Mike's.
Chinatown.
Okay, so that was my next question. Favorite spot on 3rd Street. So Mike's
Okay.
Calzones, Chinatown. Yep. Okay. What's your go-to food? Like if you could only eat one thing all day, what would it be?
Some eggs and bacon.
Eggs and bacon. So you're a breakfast guy.
Yeah, bacon, egg, and cheese, I think.
Bacon, egg, and cheese.
Yeah, I could eat that every
Okay.
meal.
Who's the funniest guy in the team?
JG.
JG's kind of quiet.
JG, no.
He's the most fun-loving guy in the team, I'll tell you that,
for
man.
sure.
That dude always has a smile on his face. I love it.
Yeah. Being a big man, me and him got a good relationship, so I think he's the funniest to me.
Like it.
I'd say Dan or Perry.
Yeah, them two.
Okay.
Them two for sure. Yeah,
all right. What's your favorite gym to play in? I know you haven't experienced them all yet, right? You haven't been to Ithaca, New York. We'll do that in a couple of weeks. I haven't been to Yale, but what's your favorite gym that you've played in so far?
UNC was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That was
the Dean Dome
for sure. In the Ivy League, I'd say I enjoyed playing at Harvard because I knew a few of their players, and getting the win there was big time. So I'd say Harvard.
All right. And last question. All right, what are we going to do this weekend to pick up some wins? Obviously, I know you guys aren't even worried about Dartmouth right now. It's Harvard Friday night. What are we going to do to pick up the win?
Take it one day at a time. Do little things. Control what we can control. Come out with energy, passion. That's what we got to do.
For sure, definitely. I think we got 3 days of prep coming up, and 3 good days of prep is the first step. And then once we get there in game day, we just follow the game plan, stay true to ourselves, stay true to our principles, And I think on any given night we can beat anybody. So I think if we just prepare like we should, I'm sure we'll get the W.
All right. Guys, good luck this weekend, and thanks for joining us on Coach's Show.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Scott.
All right. Tyler Brown, Malachi Nador, our guest on the Mike Martin Show. When we come back, Coach Martin will rejoin us, and he'll help preview this weekend's matchups with the Crimson and the Big Green when we continue right after this.
The British! They're here!
Sir, this is our Bay Coast Bank interactive teller machine, not the British. With our local ITM personal bankers, you can cash checks, make loan payments, and deposit or withdraw funds with extended hours beyond regular branch hours.
Genius!
Thank you.
I would like to make a withdrawal.
Great. How much?
12 shillings, please.
My name is Mick Young Mobilia. I'm a breast cancer survivor. I just knew that something wasn't right. So I ended up calling Rhode Island Medical Imaging, and they gave me an appointment right away. They were able to fit me right in, and that's where they found out that I had breast cancer. It's a miracle that they found it. Whoever the radiologist is, they basically saved my life. Had they not found it, it could have gotten a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse the following year because I have invasive ductal carcinoma, and I already had one lymph node involvement. I couldn't even say the word breast cancer. So the fact that RIMI can provide a place where when you walk in, when you're so scared that you don't know where your life is going, and you walk in there, just the environment itself, you can relax. I'm glad that they look at every film individually. It's more than just a film that they're looking at, that they see a human behind it. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Dr. Hillstrom, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You can have all the money in the world, but you know what? Breast cancer doesn't see that. So for me, it's to enjoy every day of your life. My name is Mick Young Mobilia, and I am the luckiest girl on this earth.
Now taking off, Breeze Airways with nice, new, and non-stop flights to Pittsburgh, Charleston, and Norfolk. Only on Breeze Airways.
Doctors at University Orthopedics have been caring for the people of southeastern New England for more than 40 years. With the Warren Alpert Medical School of Brown University, we train the next generation of orthopedic surgeons. Our state-of-the-art facilities stretch from Westerly to Mansfield. At our East Bay Surgery Center, we've performed thousands of surgeries, including same-day total joint replacements. We've grown through the years, but our goal has always been getting you back to doing what you love to do. The best orthopedic care anywhere is right here. University Orthopedics.
From corporate events to weddings by the bay to private celebrations, the Pronzi name means elegance, personalized service, and exacting attention to detail. Pronzi has everything you need in one place: event planning, catering, tents, tables and chairs, decor, and so much more. Call Pronzi today and let them plan your next event. Why go anywhere else?
The British! They're here!
Sir, this is our Bay Coast Bank interactive teller machine, not the British. With our local ITM personal bankers, you can cash checks, make loan payments, and deposit or withdraw funds with extended hours beyond regular branch hours.
Genius!
Thank you.
I would like to make a withdrawal.
Great. How much?
12 shillings, please.
Welcome back to the Mike Martin Show here on AM 790 WPRV on Facebook Live and YouTube. Our thanks again to Malachi and Tyler for joining us. This portion of the program is brought to you by TicketSmarter. Nothing beats the power and excitement of live events like TicketSmarter. For all the best sports, concerts, and theater events, visit TicketSmarter.com or on the app. TicketSmarter, proud to be the official ticket resale marketplace of Brown Athletics. TicketSmarter, a smarter way to buy tickets. All right, Coach, it's now one of those rare back-to-back weekend games here in the Ivy League where it used to be the norm. This year you only have 3 weekends where you play Friday, Saturday. It starts Friday night with the Harvard Crimson coming to town, a team that you beat up in Cambridge a few weeks ago in what I thought was one of your team's better performances for 40 minutes.
Yeah, we played really well. We shared the ball. We shot the ball really well. It helps when the ball goes in the way it did that night. Defensively, we had our moments. We've got to be better this Friday, especially on the defensive backboards. Harvard really hurt us on the offensive glass, and that's been an issue for us in league play. We've got to be a better defensive rebounding team. We've talked about it all week long, and hopefully that's an area where we can be better, because in the first time around against these two teams, at Harvard on a Friday, at Dartmouth on a Saturday night, our defensive rebounding was not as good as it needs to be. So, it's it's our second of 3 Ivy League back-to-backs, and so obviously the preparation is important. I think the physical, being fresh, I think that's important. Obviously, we've got some depth and we've got some options on the bench. So hopefully all those things help us get ready for a big one Friday night against Harvard.
And then on Saturday, you've got the Big Green of Dartmouth College. That's a 6 o'clock game. And in that game up in Hanover, I remember vividly, your team got out to a great start. It was like 10-0 right out of the chute. And then Dartmouth kind of took control and won what was a low-scoring game, 58-46. I'm sure if you hold an opponent to 58 points, you feel like you're going to win that game 9 times out of 10, and that was the one time you didn't.
Most nights, yeah, I think you would. I thought Dartmouth did a really good job defensively against us. Even when we got good looks, they didn't fall. And they really hurt us on the glass. The guy who came off the bench for them that night, who's now starting, Adelikin, their starting center, had 7 offensive rebounds in that game. He's the number 1 offensive rebounder in the Ivy League in Ivy League games, per KenPom. And he had 7 offensive rebounds in their home game against Princeton. They're coming off a win against Columbia. So their ability to rebound the ball and then their ability to shoot the ball. Obviously, Brendan Berry is one of the best shooters in the Ivy League, one of the best shooters our league's seen in the last few years.
And your team did a good job defensively, I thought, against him the first time.
We did. He had a couple big ones, though, right?
He did.
And a couple off offensive rebounds. So, they had a few threes off of offensive rebound kickouts that ended up being really big in that game. So, it's going to be a really challenging weekend. Obviously, Harvard comes in here with a lot of talent and shooting, and Noah Kirkwood, Chris Ledlam, 2 of the top players in the league. And then Dartmouth, very similar in that they can shoot the ball really well, but they're a little bit more deliberate. It's going to be probably a low possession game, and we're going to have to do our best to be really locked in defensively defending them.
And before that game, Coach, you'll get to see some of your former teammates and some great Brown basketball legends from the past. It's alumni weekend, and you'll have the alumni game, right, I think Saturday afternoon, and then there'll be a nice gathering upstairs here at the Pits. I know you usually talk to them before the start of the game.
Yeah, really looking forward to having people back in town. It looks like we might have another storm coming in, so between that and just COVID, maybe the numbers aren't quite what they normally are for our alumni weekend, but always good to have people come out and watch our team, especially those who have come before us. We've been playing basketball here for over 115 years, Scott, and one of the things we always say, it's one of our core values is, our commitment to those who have come before us, right? And our commitment to, let's try to leave this jersey in a better place than we found it, right, as student athletes and as coaches. And, there's been so many great players, so many great people who have worn the jersey here at Brown, and we owe it to them to do all that we can to continue to make them proud of what they see on the court.
All right, so the big question is, are you going to be a spectator in that alumni game, or are you going to suit up and get out there and play?
I think I'll be a game time decision. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
Well played. You should get into politics with an answer like that. Well, Coach, good luck this weekend against the Crimson Friday and the Big Green on Saturday.
Thank you, Scott.
All right, that's the head coach of the Bears, Mike Martin, and that'll do it for this edition of the Mike Martin Show. My thanks again to Malachi Nador and to Tyler Brown, and for the head coach of the Bears, Mike Martin, my name is Scott Critici. Thanks for joining us, everybody.